What up, football fans all over the world? It is your boy, Mac the Giants fan, here with my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas. You don't know what time it is. It's time for that real deal NFC East round up. Punch that intro. What is going on, everybody out there? How y'all doing, man? Mac the Giants fan. This is my super dope co-host, Adam Costas. We joining y'all on a Tuesday afternoon. You know, it's kind of a little switch up, you know what I mean? A little different. But, you know, holiday weeks, sometimes you got to make a couple alterations in the schedule, man. But how you feeling today, Adam?
Listen, folks, I agree with Mac. You know, some stuff comes up during the holidays. And family's important, and we want to get you the content out as well. That's why we move it up, because we know you want to listen. So bear with us if you're kind of confused. It'll also be up on the channels as well, so you can go back and replay it if you need to. So hopefully everyone will have a safe Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. What's going on, Mitch? What's going on, Miz? Thank y'all for popping in. Miz, man, Mitch, brother, look. Thank Joe Shane for Saquon Barkley. He's the one that allowed him to walk out the door and go scot-free and sign with whoever he wanted to. So that you could call Joe Shane up and thank him, because if I had it my way, Saquon Barkley would still very much be a New York Giant. So that's neither here nor there, though. He's doing good things for the Eagles. That's nice. All well and good. I mean, he's a great player. He's doing great things this year. He's finally getting a chance to showcase his full capabilities playing on a competent football team. But let's get right to this team. Let's get right to this fucking team called the New York Giants. I don't even know if they deserve that fucking title right now. New York Giants were the New York Giants that I knew and loved and grew up knowing and loving. That was a great organization, a well-oiled machine, a team that was ran well, even through the good times or the bad times. This team still was respected. Right now, this team gets no respect, and they don't deserve any fucking respect. This team is an absolute abomination to football right now. It's the things that this team got going on, I've never seen anything like it. It's head scratching, and you got to clean this shit up. Dayball needs to go. Joe Shane needs to go. You can't give me an argument that validates those guys coming back next year. This team is absolutely broken. It's ruined. It's destroyed. And it ain't no way in the world that those two ass clowns can fix this shit right now, because they're at the center of it all. It's been a total joke. Okay, we got Thursday night coming up, the Dallas Cowboys, Thanksgiving. I know I'm doing this a little bit wrong. We used to talk about the game, but there is absolutely nothing to talk about with that Buccaneers game on Sunday, because that game was, like I've heard people say, was maybe the worst performance by any NFL team this season in the New York Giants put out there on Sunday. You got Malik Neighbors, the first-round draft pick rookie, out there so frustrated. He's cussing at the media, at the post-game interviews, and I understand why. People are like, oh, he shouldn't say those things. He's a rookie. He should just go and do his job. No, fuck that. Somebody needs to say something, because this shit is crazy. You can't, like I said, you can't even script this. As a fan, I'm this angry as a fan. I'm not even on the damn team, and I'm this mad. So I can only imagine how the players feel. The players out there pouring out their heart and soul. And then you know what bothers me too about this team and all these company men working for this goddamn team right now? I mean, I love Amani Toomer and I love Carl Banks and all that shit. I love them to death. But you know what? They company men. There's comments I heard these guys making over the course of the last couple of days talking about the defense has to do better. The defense is the only reason why we've been competitive why we were even competitive in the earlier part of the season at all. The fucking offense needs to score points. How about that? How about put a competent offense on the field that can actually score points? Put the ball in the end zone. How about you draft a guy number 6 overall who's an absolute stud? How about you don't wait till you're down 30-0 to throw him a goddamn pass? How about that? The shit is just, it's mind-blowing to me. Adam, take the wheel, please, because I'm great. My blood pressure just went up.
You're going off the rails, huh? No, listen, everything you say is fact. The problem I have with those company men is they're echoing what the coach said a few days ago when he was like, we need to put more pressure on the defense. No, motherfucker, you need to put more fucking points in the end zone, more footballs in the end zone. Okay, yeah, the defense is horrible, and we know that. We know the defense is horrible, okay? They're one of the worst run defenses in the league. But what I don't understand about last week's game is you had 2 weeks to prepare, and you failed to do that. Your team came out lost. You know why? Because instead of benching Daniel Jones immediately that Friday when he had that horrible performance, or that Monday after the horrible performance in London, and getting it over with and let the national media have their firestorm, you do it the week of. And that all they did was answer questions. And this is why I told you guys, when there's drama for the Giants, all they do is answer those questions and they'll focus on the game. Not one question last week was about Tampa Bay. Not one. And this is what you get, the product you get. You started a quarterback who's absolute dog shit, put him out there to the Wolves. He got sent to the Wolves and absolutely destroyed. I don't know, he played a good game at the end. No, he didn't. It was garbage time. That game was a laugher. You know how bad it is? This is how bad it is. This is how bad it's going to get. Baker Mayfield scored a rushing touchdown. Baker Mayfield, okay, people? Baker Mayfield. He jumped over somebody to score a fucking touchdown. And then after he scores the touchdown, mocks our quarterback in the end zone. Mocks our quarterback. He has the class to say that that's what they like in New York. But he was disrespecting us. And not one person did anything.
What did anybody do about it?
Nothing. Nothing. There was a football on the ground, and Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns and everybody on the field are standing around as if they're having a chat at the fucking water cooler. Meanwhile, Baker Mayfield sees the football and almost scoops and scores that shit. What are you doing? Where is the field of awareness? Everybody has checked out, okay? We can blame the defense. The entire team stinks. Malik Neighbors, fine. You can call everybody out. But you got to look yourself in the mirror, too. Set an example. Do something. Where were you? You had some balls that were caught. How come you didn't score? Like, if you're going to call people out, point fingers. Say names. Don't just say, well, we played soft. Well, guess what? They're looking at you, too, now, man. You better hope you don't get laid the fuck out on Thursday night because people are looking at you now. And you got to now answer all those questions. Oh, who's soft? Who's that? There's a lot of effort. And the coach comes out there and says, oh, we gave effort. Bobby Okereke, I'll call you out. Come to the front of the line. You did nothing. You did nothing this game. You've done nothing all season. You've done nothing this game. Can I get a DB to get an interception? How come Drew Phillips is the only DB I feel I ever hear a name called? Tackling people. We got missed tackles all over the place. We're not getting pass rush. We don't look like anything. Like, I get it, Shane Bowen. You're limited. You're not. There's no Nico Autry's, no Jeffrey Simmons on this line, and all those guys you had in Tennessee. I get it. But can you come up with a scheme that works? That gets me an interception? That gets me a turnover? Nobody's even going for the ball. Nobody. Last year, they were punching the ball out and shit, even at the beginning of the year. Now, they don't do nothing. It's like as if they're playing tag. Let me just touch the guy so I look good. And let me tell you, offensively, it's not getting any better. You don't have Illuminor. You may not have Neal. Okay, you lost Andrew Thomas. You got 2 friggin' scrubs playing tackle for you. Okay? JMS can't block a nosebleed. Okay? Can't block anybody.
Oh, God.
Everybody told me this guy was good. Can't block anybody. They have the reason why these quarterbacks are getting sacked is they have no interior clock. They can't do anything. They drop back and the guy's in his lap. And then this is what you do. You got rid of, and we'll get to the front office because Mac is right. You got rid of a lot of these players right? You didn't sign John Feliciano, so you went looking for a center the next year. You got the oldest center in the fucking book who probably didn't have as much growth or upside as they told you, and you drafted him in the second round. You took a diminutive receiver who basically does nothing, in the second round, okay? You got rid of Saquon Barkley. I don't want to pay $12 million to pay an old over-the-hill running back who's now demoted to second team over a rookie fifth-round pick. You spent mad money. You spent mad money on a quarterback that now you're forced to start that you didn't want to start in Drew Lock. If you didn't have him or Singletary on the team, you would have had $9 million to give to Barkley and McKinney. Oh, but no, we don't want to pay any safeties. No, we don't get that. No. Tommy DeVito, the sideshow that you brought out, was a shitty quarterback that happened to luck out because nobody knew who the fuck he was until they figured him the fuck out 3 games later, and then he was dog shit. And he comes out here, you think he's going to give us a spark. He's going to give us a spark. You come out there, and all I hear is like that's all you're doing. He can't move the football. He can't throw it downfield. He doesn't have the same moxie. He's getting tackled by Vita Vea with one hand. He ain't got no strength. How are you going to get tackled by one hand? Twice. Once by Vita Vea, the other by DB.
This fucking shit. What's up, bookends?
Mac, this team needs a reset. Okay? I don't care what happens on Thursday. Most likely,
absolutely.
I don't care if you start Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito, but you need an absolute reset. You need somebody in here. It's gone from bad to worse. This is worse than Joe Judge. The reason why it's worse than Joe Judge, people, because Joe Judge, he unravels on his own accord. He was being dumb. He knew his quarterback stunk. So I get the logic why he tried to do it. I don't think he should have done it because nobody likes to give up. But his logic was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. You get fired. And then, of course, the unraveling in Chicago. This is worse. This is worse. The players are pointing the fingers at everybody. The coaches are pointing the fingers at the other coaches. Nothing's going right here. The GM looks like a complete and utter asshole from every clip that's coming out of John Mara. I'm going to lose some sleep if Barkley's an Eagle. Goes out to be an Eagle, and all Barkley's doing is rubbing it in your face like a dog that shit on the carpet. He's rubbing it in your face all the day. And then you come out and say, oh, I'm okay with my quarterback room, right? Then you fire the quarterback that stinks, jump over the quarterback you paid to go to the third-string quarterback who's been the second-string quarterback of the third-string quarterback for the entire preseason and into the season. And then you tell me, well, He's going to give us a spark. What? Didn't you tell me that about Drew Lock a week ago or 5 weeks ago when he was put in against the Eagles? Oh, he's going to give us a spark. Like, what in your ever-loving mind? How do you go 2 weeks? This is my question to Brian Dable. How do you go 2 weeks from London to then this week and your team not even look like they're ready to fucking play? 2 weeks you had.
I'm going real quick. I'm just jump in with this comment on mid-comment. I do tend to agree with you a bit, man. I mean, like, look, I think I can speak for most Giant fans, a lot of Giant fans. I mean, the benching was fine. I think people were fine. I was fine with the benching. You know what I mean? Right. But when you disrespect a guy the way you disrespected that young man, put at scout team safety at practice, like, at the end of the day, no matter how we all feel about Daniel Jones, any way, shape, or form, I think a big majority of those guys in that locker room did, like the guy, respect the guy genuinely, you know what I mean, as one of their brothers, you know what I mean? He might have been an asset quarterback, but at the end of the day, I think he had to respect the other fellas in the locker room for the most part. I think he genuinely did. And the reality is, when he threw that right in front of everybody, you just put it out on Front Street like that, yeah, you're in place. You're going to be our scout team safety. He was your starting quarterback a week ago. Now he's your scout team safety? That was disrespectful. I think that did impact these guys a lot. And that's the kind of shit that does make you want to go out there and just quit, not play for this guy, because I might be next. I might be the next scout team safety. Who the fuck knows? At this point, this is such a shit show. that it can't be cleaned up with the guys that are here. They have to go. John Mara, you will be an absolute idiot to retain these idiots, these clowns. You will be it will be ridiculous. There's nothing that validates bringing those guys back. See, nothing at all.
Here's where I'm mad about this whole thing. Okay, is you already benched Daniel against the Eagles. At that point in time, logically, you should have benched him or told the public he's on a short leash, right? And at least they would have known that because we knew it was coming, right? So then when you do bench him after the horrific performance, and he had a horrific performance against the Panthers, you should have done it on the bye week because then he could have, let's say he asked for his release that Sunday. He has 2 weeks to go on with a new team if he wants to. He gets to be cut. He doesn't need to face the media backlash or any of that shit. The stupid written statement he made in the middle of practice, all that garbage. Like, he shouldn't have been even in the building when you came back from your bye week. That's how it should have been handled. It shouldn't have been handled the public. I mean, they did this on purpose to humiliate him and do all that stuff. Which, again, it doesn't matter to me. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. I don't give a, I don't care. When you don't like somebody, the divorce is always bad, no matter what. And I'm not going to play his victim. Did they do him a little dirty? I guess so. But he also is walking away with a lot of money. So it did him dirty, yes, but he's still walking away with his full guaranteed $47 million. So I guess he's happy. And he'll land on a team, like somebody said, he's sniffing around the Vikings. So I'm not really worried about it. But what I don't like about this leadership that's going on, and it's mostly with the with the head coach, is that those mother flippins don't allow. They don't have any leadership. They have no spine. They're spineless. You know how Jones found out that he was getting fired? Not by the GM. No, by the owner. By the owner. That is unacceptable.
You can't even look a man in his eye and just tell him we're moving on. You can't even look him in the eye. This is where we are. This is where the Giants are as an organization now. This is where the New York Giants are as a team. This is just. I never thought I'd see days like this coming from this organization. I mean, this is it's beyond embarrassing. I don't even know the words to say to put together to say like this. That's how bad this is. Like it's. God, so it makes me not even want to watch football anymore on Sundays. It's zapping it, taking it all away from me because this team is just that horrendous. So I mean, this season is over, and we haven't even quite got to Thanksgiving yet, and this season it's not only over, it's been over. It's been over.
Well, now it's the race to be the team with the first double-digit losses, right? Because remember, the Jaguars are on a bye, and the Giants play on Thursday, and they're the only team on Thursday with like 9 wins. So, 9 losses, excuse me. So it's the race to get to 10 losses, and you're going to be on national TV against a team that just, against a team that has found its mojo a little bit. Not saying that they're going to run the table or anything, but they believe like, we can beat, at least you, New York, because we just beat the Commanders. So we have that little extra juice, added incentives to embarrass you guys. Because guess what? That's what teams are going to do now. Teams are going to look to embarrass you. They're not going to look to just beat you. They're going to look to embarrass you. Because nobody, like everyone's talking about that Baker Mayfield thing. You know what that Baker Mayfield thing does? That shows you have no balls. Malik Neighbors said you're soft. Yeah, well, guess what? You should have gotten Baker Mayfield's face. You should have fought somebody. You should have smacked them around, not tolerate. You know what the Cowboys did on Sunday? They fought with that Redskin team. They were in there. They were jawing. They were hitting hard. They were doing everything that they needed to do. Scrapping and clawing. They were undermanned. Their quarterback was down. They lost a couple of players. in the starting lineup? So everything that you see going on, where is that with the Giants? No, what do we have with the Giants? We have Tommy Cutlets come out, sitting there looking like a deer in headlights. Vita Vea is laughing at us on this field. They scored, like you said, 4 rushing touchdowns. I never felt the game was ever in reach of the Giants, even when there was times when they had a reach. When they were down 10-0, 10-0. Then it went 17, then it went 23, and then it went 30. And they scored a garbage time touchdown. Everyone's like, yay, woo! We're like, no, the game was over. You're glad you didn't put a 0 up on the board. And then I love this. Oh, well, Daniel Jones would have done better. No, he wouldn't have. So I'm not going to revision the history. We're in this present right now, and you can't revise it. Going forward, we got to figure it out. Do I think they're going to score more points with Drew Lock? I don't. Do I just because the play calling is bad? Everything is bad about this team. They need to go. Brian Dable needs to go. Joe Shane he's what we call an ass.
You know what we're going to get on Thursday, obviously. We're going to get an absolute – you're just going to force feed Malik Neighbors the ball at this point now. I can see Malik Neighbors getting like 20 fucking targets in this game on Thursday because that's how stupid the Giants are. They'll come out and they'll do that and it'll just throw all kinds of fucked up passes in his direction just to say, well, we're targeting you. Like that's just the New York Giant way this season, man. Just do stupid shit on top of stupid shit.
Well, here I'll give you a better.
Like the fact of the matter is, Tommy DeVito's hurt and he may not be able to go Thursday. But the point is, he shouldn't have been going on Sunday. The motherfucker has been the third string quarterback the entire fucking season. The third string emergency quarterback, which means he can only even get on the damn field if Jones and Drew Lock both were unable to play. Yet, all of a sudden, he's the guy that's going to give this offense a spark. Yeah, we saw that spark on Sunday. It wasn't much of a fucking spark. It was like a fucking lighter that you just keep flicking and flicking and flicking and hope a little flame fucking comes out sooner or later.
Oh my God.
That's what the hell we got on Sunday.
That's a great analogy. But think about this, Mac. This just dawned on me. So you're sitting there, you're eating your turkey. Tommy DeVito doesn't come out because, he's injured, right? In comes Drew Lock. Micah Parsons careens around the corner. You're sitting there mid-bite. Boom! Drew Lock is out. And all of a sudden, Tim Boyle has to jog out onto the field and save the Giants from the Cowboys. Like, this is where we're talking about here. They bring in Tim Boyle, folks. You're like, there's nobody here to save this franchise. Nothing going on here right now. And the fact that you have to possibly play your backup quarterback because your third string quarterback that shouldn't have been playing anyways got beat up in the game and is now you're going to have to play the guy you should have played. If Lock starts, I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants score points but lose the game because he's going to want to come out and say, oh, you overlooked me? Okay, I'm going to drop 21 on them and show you, right? We'll see what happens in terms of defensively, but I can see that happening. I also see it being a giant clusterfuck and the Cowboys just being too much defensively, and that's what probably is going to happen because if you're splitting reps or giving a guy 1 day of full team reps of not getting any reps. Because think about this. Think about what happened, okay? When you set up a football team, Daniel Jones is getting all the reps for 10 weeks. You come back, and then you give Tommy DeVito – you have a practice apparently behind closed doors. A practice. Okay. Determine that Tommy DeVito is a starter. Go out on Wednesday. He gets all the full team reps. There wasn't any split reps. He got all the reps. Being that he's a young player, probably going to get all of them, and Drew Lock's going to get none, right? And Tim Boyle's there to, wipe fucking asses and clean up janitors. Who knows? Tim Boyle. Point is, you go into the meeting, all he does is get all the shit, right? Tommy DeVito. Not even a single snap. Now, you come in, you have your walkthrough on Monday. You have another walkthrough Wednesday, found out that your quarterback's sore, and now Drew Lock, who's in a walkthrough practice, not a live practice, not like bullets are flying, a walkthrough practice, is now splitting reps with Tommy DeVito, who possibly could go Thursday, could not go Thursday, and here we are. And I'm supposed to believe that Drew Lock is going to come out and light it up? Like, I mean, I want him to. That's my belief, my hope, but that seems like you're not prepared enough to do it. Because remember, folks, when I say the guy gets no reps, he gets no reps. He's the scout team quarterback. If that, they might make Tommy DeVito the scout team quarterback. I'm not at practice, but usually that's what happens. You usually get a guy that you want to emulate, So they didn't do a very good job prepping for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have less prep time to prep for the Cowboys. Again, who is coming off a win in their building, looking at you dead ass saying, we need this win to have a modicum of playoff hope, a little sliver of chance of making it, because we just beat the Commanders. And if we beat the Commanders again and get to 9-8 and they get to 9-8, maybe we make the playoffs with a chance for Dak Prescott to come off and play. Who knows? I mean, that's what's being bandied about. Meanwhile, over here, we're talking about who's soft, who's not soft. But 2 games in, when are we going to talk about the opponent? When are we going to say, what are the Cowboys doing? No, we're always getting distracted because somebody said this guy's starting here, this guy's doing this. It's a constant circus. It's a constant movement. And that's why teams are going to beat us. Because I guarantee you, if Drew Lock wins, if Drew Lock comes out, the Giants lose, right? But he has a solid game. They put up, more points. The offense looks functional. You're going to have a conundrum on their hands. Because you can't just go out there and say, well, I'm going to do, Drew Lock. I mean, God forbid Drew Lock wins the game. That guy's going to start the rest of the year. And then we're going to be like, see. I hope he doesn't win because we need a quarterback. Desperately. But my point is, let's say it comes out and it does well. And then, you have your 11 days off and you come play the Saints, who have a great offense coming into your building. And all of a sudden now you have a quarterback controversy on your hands. And now you have to pick and choose which one gives you the best option. Oh, well, Tommy doesn't going to lose his job, so we're going to start Tommy. Tommy looks like dog shit against the Saints, and then you have Drew Lock. I mean, it's going to become a mess. A mess. It's already a mess, but the more I think about it, it's just getting worse by the minute, by the hour, by the day, by the game. Think about this, folks. Double-digit losses. If the Giants get to double-digit losses, I think they'll be eliminated from the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. But that's beside the point. The point is they'll be number 1 in the draft for like a day until the Jaguars play on Sunday.
Dang. Well, I don't know, like I said. Let me ask you a question about shift gears a little bit. We still about this terrible ass team. What do you think about? I don't know if you heard Stephen A. Smith's comments a couple of days ago. How do you feel? You think he might be on something? Because I think he could be on to something. Just look at Malik Nabers. He was speaking, and you see a guy that I look in this guy's eyes. I did see a little bit more behind the words as well. I kind of tend to agree with Stephen A. a little bit. You think Malik Nabers is at a point already where he's already reached his boiling point with this organization and already has had enough of this hellhole that is the New York Giants? This shortened to his tenure with this team.
I think it started out very early. We don't want to like to read body language, but when you draft a guy, these players know, these kids know, all 32 teams. They know who they want to go to, who they don't want to go to, right? So do I think he got frustrated? I think he was happy at the beginning. And then as it grew, you started to see what people talked about. In Hard Knocks might as well be the guide for the season, right? Because in Hard Knocks, they asked, well, what happens if you lose? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I hate losing more than I like winning. Well, guess what? Now you're starting to see it. And he's tired of it. And he's a star, and he feels like he needs help. But the thing that he's also alluding to is it's not the quarterback is what he said, right? So basically the message is not being heard. The leaders need to step up, even though he's a rookie. And I think his frustration is warranted. I think sometimes you need to, figure it out. The way you're chewing gum and talking to the media, that's not giving a fuck attitude. That's like, I just got to be here to be here. I'm going to say what I need to say. I'm pissed off. Let's go. Right. And he'll mature, hopefully, in that end. Otherwise, he'll be ridden out of town. But my point is, do I think losing? Yes. He comes from a program. He yelled at Jaden Daniels last year. He comes from a program of winning, LSU is a big time program, and he's a star there. And he comes to New York, and the offense is hindering him. It doesn't move. There's no creativity, and he's frustrated. He's not getting the ball as much as he'd like. That's twofold. One, the quarterbacks. Two, the defense realizes who the star of the show is, right? And so I think it all boiled over. And I think, he's going to be a guy that's going to give you the soundbite the rest of the way. No one's going to rein him in. They said they talked to him. Well, guess what? He said that he stands on his words. He just said that today, right? He said, I stand on my words as saying that we're soft, right? So some people lead differently. We'll find out if this is a way of getting guys rallied up. But I expect a juiced up Malik Neighbors, and he better know when to celebrate and when not to celebrate. Because I don't need you, showing me the first down signal at 30-7. But at the beginning of the game, do what you got.
Exactly.
He didn't backtrack today.
That's another thing that bothers me about this team. Like, I'm sorry, what you just said. That, like you said, guys still doing the little first down points and all this, and Nacho doing his little stupid dance because he got a fucking tackle and all this dumb shit when you're losing 30 to fucking nothing and whatever the hell the score was at that point in the game. Like, that's just ridiculous, man. At that point, you just get your ass back in the huddle. Just get back to the fucking huddle because you're getting your ass whipped. So
he did the same thing. He tackled like Bucky Irving, Nunez Roches, and it's like 30-0. He's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, get a grip, bro. You're getting your ass kicked, and you're sitting there like celebrating like you just made the Super Bowl winning tackle. Like, Mac.
But real quick, this question, man. I actually put this up in the Twitter group, and I answered it then, and I'm gonna answer it the same way now. Nah, man, you can't trade Dexter Lawrence at this point. Dexter Lawrence is signed long term. He's a foundational piece. At this point, I can't trade Dexter Lawrence, and because you knew what the problem is. That's the whole problem with, once again, circling back to Joe Shane. That's the whole fucking problem with this guy, because you let Julian Love walk out the door. You let Xavier McKinney walk out the door. You let Saquon Barkley walk out the door. You got nothing for those guys, and you could have got something for all three of them. You could have got a nice little haul for Saquon Barkley, obviously. You could have got some nice pieces, some nice draft capital for Xavier McKinney as well. Julian Love, he could have got you a little something. You got nothing for any of them. You just let them all walk away. It's like you're going to do the same shit again also this offseason, where we're going to just let players just walk away. You just got nothing for Daniel Jones as well. Nothing. You're getting nothing for any of these fuckers. They're just walking away. They're just leaving, and you're not getting shit for them. But Dexter Lawrence, to me, Dexter Lawrence is not a piece you just, now that you signed him, you got him, you got him long-term locked up. I don't feel like you can trade a piece like that. I just feel like that tells the locker room that we really don't give a fuck at all. We just traded away our best player.
Well,
we just traded our best player for some draft picks that may or may not pan out. I mean, that's just how I feel about that.
Here's what I'll say.
Adam, I know you could.
I am not married to any player. And this is only if, like, Drew Lock wins us games, right? Would I trade Dexter? I think about it. The guy I would trade is Andrew Thomas, though. And the only reason I say that is because he has more of an injury history than Dexter Lawrence. I mean, I could probably find another Dexter Lawrence easier than I could find an Andrew Thomas, because left tackles don't grow on trees, but a defensive tackle that pass rush, you see them popping up across the league. So it's not like I can't replace that guy with him. But these two guys have to be on the table in a rebuild. And to me, it's like this. So let's say the Giants, and I don't want to wish this upon the Giants. Let's say the Giants end up top 5. And they need a quarterback, and it's between them and the Raiders, or them and the Jaguars. And the Jaguars say, we'll give us your first this year, and Andrew Thomas, and your second round pick next year, and your third round pick next year, right? Or Dexter Lawrence. I would say hell yes, because I'm moving up to get my quarterback, right? He counts as a first round pick. Dexter Lawrence was a first round pick. He should net you a first round pick. Same thing with Andrew Thomas, right? So if those guys are used as a bargaining chip to get you up to get a quarterback, great. I think the Giants are going to suck so badly they may not have to move these guys. But I'm not married, like I said, I'm not married to a player. If Dexter Lawrence is going to get me back a first and a second, or a first and a third, then I'll do that for a team that needs a defensive line help, right? Because they'll willing to pay that premium and get that guy, especially since the Giants will probably be on the hook for most of the money, right? Until they rework the contract and shit. So I think if you're going to do a full teardown and you fire everybody, if the GM comes in, whoever that is, and the next coaching staff come in, whoever that is, and they sit down and they go, you know what, Dexter, we love you, but we're going to trade you to Baltimore, to Cleveland, to Pittsburgh, to one of these teams that you'll have a chance to win at, and we're going to get a haul back for you to flesh out this franchise going forward. I mean, I would trade Brian Burns right now. Like, I like Brian Burns, but motherfucker doesn't do anything. He got 6 sacks. Okay, he got nothing last week. Right? He did nothing last week. Okay, so to me, it's like if he were on the table and somebody was willing to take his contract, boom. Especially if you're firing the coaches and GM. I don't want to walk in and be like, listen, I don't want John Mayer to walk in and be like, no, we can't trade Andrew Thomas. We can't do that. If you think that you can get a good value back for them, then everything's on the table, right? But if you decide to keep them, that's also a good thing as well, right? And so to me, I'm looking at how do I best build the franchise? Being loyal to players in bad times has been bad for us. But here's the difference. If we can get something for these players, that's what you do instead of letting him walk out the door. So if Dexter Lawrence, if he had a last year or something like that, or one more year left on his contract, and you don't think you're going to sign him, then I don't want you to wait till, free agency to start talking to him. Sign him now, right? So the Giants are in a precarious position because I don't want to hear whoever the next GM is, or if it's still this GM, next coach, whatever, whomever it may be. I don't want to hear we're going to compete to rebuild. I don't want to hear that. I want to be like, we're going to draft our quarterback. We're going to, use whatever by any means necessary to get our quarterback. And if we have to mortgage a few assets to get in that direction, we will. And don't expect a lot from us this season. We're going to try to field a competitive football team the best we can. We understand what we're going through. Bear with this new regime as we build for this new quarterback. Boom. Right out the gate. You're like, all right, got it. We're building. We're going to have a bad season. Now, if you overachieve, like what the Commanders are doing, that's when you can reevaluate things and say, okay, let's do it. But I know it's a long-winded answer, but to be honest with you, all I'm trying to say is let the new regime pick who they want. If they decide Dexter Lawrence is tradable and you can get good assets for him, I don't want John Mayer to be like, no, don't do that.
I guess I can respect that from that aspect too, but I just think this team doesn't have a whole lot to build upon. And Dexter Lawrence is definitely something to continue to build upon, because no matter what, as bad as his team has been, Dexter Lawrence is out there and he's still wreaking havoc in football games.
But you also got to think about Dexter Lawrence.
We just don't have enough of that. We don't have enough of that on this football team right now.
Think about him. Okay. How old is Dexter Lawrence? 27, 26, something like that. Now, let's say you decide to go with a new regime, right? New coach, new everything, right? That's probably going to take you 3 years to get good. 3 years. So now we're talking about Dexter Lawrence being closer to 30, right? And still not being able to win and have a winning season and do what Saquon Barkley is doing right now in the prime of his career. So that's another reason why I would say, you know what, if we're going to tear this down and we go from a bigger viewpoint of it, right? And we're sitting here saying, look, Dexter, it's like when Kevin Garnett was with the Timberwolves and the guy, I think it was, I don't know if it was Danny Ainge or whoever the GM was, like, look, bro, you got to get out of here. You're not winning anything in Minnesota. Right. So then that's when Kevin Garnett was like, okay, I got to put my loyalty aside and go pursue other options, which he did. And he ended up going to Boston with a championship. I think the same thing needs to happen if you get a new GM. Real talks have to happen, especially with Andrew Thomas. I am not opposed to letting Andrew Thomas. Love Andrew Thomas. Think he's one of the best all-pro tackles in the league. The Giants did the best thing drafting him 4th overall. But he's got a lot of injury history. And to me, again, if you need assets, and this is, to me, only if the Giants don't get a top 2 pick. If you're in the top 2, you don't need to worry about nothing. If you're, 6 and you need to trade Andrew Thomas or Dexter Lawrence, you say, name your price. What do you want? How can we get him? Because at the end of the day, the mission is to get a quarterback in here and to build a team. And I know people say, well, why are you getting rid of pieces? when you're building a team, look at the Patriots. You're just trying to build a team to kind of get out there, field, get experience, try to galvanize the locker room and start to the foundation of your program. Anomalies are C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels, and things like that. The more of it is like what the Patriots are going through right now, where their rebuild is. You see some spark because their offense can still score, and Drake May is not a complete dog shit out there. Caleb Williams, same thing in Chicago, right? There, Chicago is basically going to flounder this season because of Caleb Williams and the growth that he has to make, but they're still in games, right? So when you get a new quarterback and a new thing, you get that time. When you're this GM, you don't. And I think that's why when you ask a question like that, I say everyone's on the table.
I can feel that.
I wouldn't trade
Billy.
You
feel that from that aspect. This team is so far away from anything right now, even being respectable.
Right. And maybe you want to get those
41 minutes into the show, and we've only talked about the shit show that is the New York Giants, because that's just how bad it is. That's how bad this has become. Adam, this shit stresses me out a little bit, man. I know it might sound crazy, but I'm not your run-of-the-mill everyday fan, man. Don't call me MacDaGiantsFan for nothing, man. I'm just not. I'm that guy that walks around every day with the blue on, man, with the New York Giants shit on, loud and proud, man. And it's getting harder and harder to continue doing that.
I haven't worn their gear really loud and proud for much. I don't wear their gear on Sundays. I've stopped. You haven't given me anything to cheer for. Why should I keep cheering for you when you keep doing the same shit and expecting a different result?
Exactly. That right there. Keep doing the same stupid shit and expecting a different result. Now, here's a question I kind of got for you about this situation, because clearly we missed the mark on what looks like it's going to be one of the great all-time quarterback classes, draft classes a season ago. I mean, you hear good things about some of these guys coming out, but do you really believe they can live up to what this group, this 2023 group has done? 2024 group has done. Here's their opportunities.
Here's our problem. We always want our guys to live up to the previous guys, and that's where we're going. That's where we're having shortcomings, because not, every situation is different. Look, if you told me that Caleb Williams would have the season that Jaden Daniels is having, and Jaden Daniels would have the season that he's having, and Bo Nix would be considered for Offensive Player of the Year, I'd be like, you're crazy. But Bo Nix, who's the 6th quarterback, is playing better than the number 1 overall pick, right? And his team's in a better position to do it. And so for me, it's like, if you got a guy you like and you got a coach that you think can develop him, get one of the top prospects. Don't shop at the bargain bin section. But if you can get a Shador, a Ward, a Nussmeier, a Dart, and you think you can cultivate his talent, then you go get him. But every quarterback class is different. You look at the 2021 class, and they got one guy starting. You look at the 2020 class, and they're dominating the league. You look at the 2018 class, and Baker Mayfield had a tumultuous time. Sam Darnold's having a career revival. Josh Allen and now Lamar Jackson. So that class is starting to look pretty good, right? When you look around the league, when it's all said and done, you're going to be like, oh, Baker had a good career. Lamar's going to probably end up in the Hall of Fame. Josh probably going to end up close to the Hall of Fame, right? And then you have Sam Darnold, who will probably be a career journeyman / starter, and you're going to be like, wow, that wasn't a bad class when it was all said and done, right? The 2021 class, Mac Jones, all those guys, they look like shit right now. The Kenny Pickett's of the world, he doesn't look good. Malik Willis is out there. He's doing stuff in Green Bay, but look where he's at. He's in Green Bay, right? So every situation is different. And all I want really is if the Giants will get a quarterback, if you find the guy, you groom him the right way. If it's a 2nd round pick, I don't expect him to start right away, but I expect him to get in the game at some point. If it's a 2nd overall pick, don't throw him to the Lions. Even if you put in somebody else, do what the Patriots did and say, you know what, boom, we're just letting him develop and see what he can do, right? Because the thing is, you look at many quarterbacks, You look at David Carr. He was a great player out of Fresno State. Never was the same. But then you look at a guy like C.J. Stroud, who plays for the same organization, and they understood what they were doing with this guy, right? And this guy also was good. So you look at Bryce Young. Bryce Young's playing better. You need patience, you need time, and you need to let these guys get 3 years. I tell everybody you got to give 3 years. After 3 years, you'll know if the guy stinks, and or there's anything. If anything, you want him to tease you in the third season, like, man, we made this kid good, but now we want to make him a megastar, right? And you're seeing it with Anthony Richardson, you're seeing it with C.J. Stroud right now. You're seeing with Bryce Young. That class wasn't a great class. It was highly touted, but if you look at them in the NFL, they're not doing anything. This class coming into this year has a deeper class where you can get a guy in the second and third round who possibly could be a starter if you want. But because quarterback's a premium position, you'll draft higher. Stability is good, but you also need to be good though. Like Justin Herbert didn't have stability, but we knew he was good. Now he's got a good coach. We're going to see the real Justin Herbert take off. DJ, I can tell, wasn't good regardless of the thing. We're not going to revisit history with Daniel Jones. We're not. We're not going to relitigate this. He stunk because he was not a good player. You gave him everything, and he still was not a good player. So that argument is moot. Okay? You look at Matthew Stafford. You knew he was good, even though the supporting cast around him with Detroit wasn't. Okay? You look at, again, Stafford, how many coaches he's had. You look at Baker Mayfield, he's bounced back. Okay? These guys were good coming out, and they stayed good, and they sustained it. They had ducks in the road. We knew that Daniel was bad. Yes, we gave him everything this year. He had a good O-line, he had a starting caliber receiver, and he had a running back. I'm sorry. I'm not relitigating Daniel Jones, bro. You love Daniel Jones? That's fine. You can't tell me Kenny Golladay, how many linemen they signed. Like, don't act like the Giants didn't try to make Daniel Jones' life easy. Things happen. Guys get injured. Guys stink at their jobs. Daniel Jones. I mean, that's what's coming out. I mean, think about that. Everything that we said is coming out right now. Right now that we have a bad quarterback situation with Brian Daboll, and here we go. After all that trauma, then they gave him everything. Bro, you're not listening. Daniel Jones sucked regardless of what he got. If you can't see that, I'm sorry. If you needed Malik Neighbors to show you that Daniel Jones sucks, I'm sorry that happened. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about them getting a quarterback in a situation and trying to do what they need to do. If they suck this year, then they suck. I mean, Jared Mayo may not make it through the year. If they bring in another coach, the guy's not going to go, oh, let me get rid of Drake May. They see enough out of Drake May to know he's got something with him. We don't have that with Daniel Jones. Whatever, man. Okay, you can go enjoy Minnesota then with the Vikings then. I mean, my issue then.
And that's, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, Daniel Jones just didn't get the job done here. I mean, point blank.
Won a playoff game.
Whoever we want to blame for it, whatever, between his own self, the coaching. I mean, look, the coaching has been shitty. I mean, I'll give him all that and all of this and that, but at the end of the day, after the year 6, man, he's a 6-year vet, so that light bulb wasn't coming on. It just wasn't going to come on, man.
That's the problem. He isn't Lamar. He's Daniel Jones. He wasn't good.
I mean, look, he's a nice guy, sure, whatever, great person, yeah, but talking about the football, and it just wasn't working out, man. I mean, like I said, perfectly fine with the benching. I'm fine even with the release, but it's just the event leading up to the release and everything else that I do feel I take that some type of way. I just feel like it was a little like it could have been held with a lot more class, a lot more dignity.
And what's that going to prove?
I don't think the guy did deserve that. For what it's worth, the guy did. Whether you got the results you were looking for or not, he did show up to work every day, hard hat on, ready to go, whatever. He just like Adam just said, man, he's just not good, man. We're not assassinating this guy's character as a person or anything like that. Sure, he showed up for work. He did all the right things. He said all the right things in the media, but on the field, he just didn't get it done, man. He just didn't. He just didn't.
Well,
He just didn't get it done.
Let's bring that up. Who are you looking at if the Giants do? Someone says Vrabel here. I think he said Vrabel. Who are you looking at to bring in as a new coach if you're on the board of firing Brian Daboll? For all I know, you could want to keep Brian Daboll, but I'm just saying, who are you looking at? Because I have a couple of people that I think might be interesting.
Oh, as far as coaches?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm definitely on that Vrabel train. Like somebody like that, a guy with instant credibility. I told you I'm not opposed to like a Ben Johnson. I'm still not. I know some people feel some type way. You don't want, they want some new OC kind of guy again. But I just watched that Detroit Lions offense, man, and I want to see the New York Giants offense look something like that. I just want to. I don't want to see the New York Giants offense be just show me signs of looking like that. I get it. We don't have the same personnel. You can't not going to necessarily say you can do all the same shit as that team. Not as talented, but I just want to see this offense look competent because I feel like defensively, this team has pieces on the defensive side of the football. You get the right leader on that side, like as far as like coordinator on that side of the ball, and I think this defense can cook, man. It has the ability, has the potential to cook, man. As we saw flashes of that even earlier in this season.
They were pretty good.
We got to get somebody that can come in here, and truly fix this offense. I mean, this offense is just been, it's not been good to look at, people, for the last, God knows how long. When's the last time the New York Giants offense was like good to look at? Like legitimately, when can you say the New York Giants offense looked like something we want to see? We want to see that unit on the field.
I say probably last time was 2019 because they still had explosive plays, but after that it's been a shit show. But I agree with you. I like Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
The reason I like Vrabel, and not necessarily Ben Johnson, not that I don't want a Ben Johnson. People, I think the Giants, if they fire Daboll, or when they should fire Daboll, I shouldn't say when. I should say if. When they fire Daboll, they're going to look for a guy who had head coaching experience. I don't want Belichick in here. A lot of people like that. I want a guy like a Vrabel who can build a program like he did in Tennessee. Vrabel comes in here, he builds up the foundation. Look what he did in that Tennessee teams when I don't want any part of Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's a decent offensive coordinator. He's a
good coordinator, but now he's proven to be a failure as a head coach. I feel
if he can rebound. Let me put it this way: if he can rebound out of the slumps that he's having right now and refine the offense for Washington, then I'll consider it going forward. But I want a guy more like Vrabel because I think he got done wrong in Tennessee. I think that he can build a program. Even with lack of talent at every position, quarterback, whatever, he understood what it took to win. Big running game, big time defense. It wasn't his fault they lost. It's not like he had bad calls, really. Sometimes he did. Obviously, everybody's not perfect. But, Ryan Tannehill screwed up and threw some interceptions. And he can be a foundation builder. A guy that, can actually send a message to the team. This team is the problem with this team is it looks like Brian Daboll got neutered. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe when he got a stern talking to by his boss that he became a shell of himself. But there's memes out there when Daboll was a little bit more heavyset, had more energy, and was whoa, and now throwing his headset and shit. And now he's sitting in there. His shoulders are hunched in. He's in his play calling. He's trying to almost hide from the team as opposed to being a coach of the team, and we need a personality. There's Tom Coughlin ain't walking through that door, but damn it, we need a guy like him. And I think Vrabel brings that kind of edge. Now, are you worried about him with a young quarterback? I don't know. He did have a chance from Malik Willis. Let's see if he brings in a good OC. Who could his OC be? That'll be a great depiction. And I think getting him a quarterback would help allow him to, be here a while. Think about this, right? He comes in. He builds a team similar to how Washington built. They get a veteran quarterback in here. Maybe they bring in a Ryan Tannehill, right? I know he's played in the system. You can get a guy like he'll know the system. He'll know what I'm looking for. He'll set the tone. Then you draft your quarterback. Let's say Cam Ward, Drew Sanders, Nussmeier, whomever, right? Whatever quarterback they like. I'm not picking. I like a couple guys. They can like a couple guys. Whomever they pick. Now you got Vrabel in here. He's got his guy in here. You bring in a nice OC who's kind of innovative. You kind of see what you got with the roster and see who's serviceable, who's not, and kind of patchwork the line and let them grow together and really develop this guy. Bring in almost a QB type coach with the QB coach, right? Because if you look at what the Jets were going to do, the Jets were bringing in, I forget who the name is, but they were bringing in a guy specifically to train with Zach Wilson on their facility. Very good offensive mind. He unfortunately passed away in a bike accident um, when he was riding his bike outside, and he never made it there. And they said that this guy might have helped. So what you do is be smart. Like, understand your situation, and you may fail. The guy may come in and be a bad quarterback. That may happen. But if you kind of get guys in there that you don't have to tutor, you can bring in a guy like Ryan Tannehill. You can get evaluations on other players and how things go. And then if the season's to shit, you have a guy in there in Tannehill who's now a good older backup like a Flacco who can kind of still mentor your young guys as you go forward. That's how I would do it, right? I would not I don't care if Brian Dable and Joe Shane pick a quarterback this year. If they stay here, I don't think they will. And I'm praying that every team on the schedule beats the brakes off of us so we don't have to endure this anymore. We can get a chance at a guy like Mike Vrabel. Because I don't want this is what's going to happen if the Giants don't get a coach this year. They're going to get a coach next year when the coaching tree is far less. Because you got Gruden out there, you got Rex Ryan out there, you got Bill Belichick out there, you got Mike Vrabel out there, you got all these high-level, high-name coaches, not to mention Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, a couple of these. And if the Lions win the Super Bowl, those two are going to be the highest candidates. You got Steve Spagnuolo, his name's floating out there. So when you look at overall, if the Giants want to make a move, I would try to do it now when the coaching pool is so deep that you might be able to get a good guy because there are going to be other hot commodities out there. People are going to want Gruden. People are going to want Belichick. People might inquire about Rex Ryan. I don't know. But the thing is, Spags is out there. Maybe if he wins again, maybe he'll want to get the coaching tree. I don't know about, I don't know. So there's so much out there that I don't want to be what they were with Pat Shurmur, where they fire McAdoo one cycle too late. Right. They come in and the only candidates they really got are Pat Shurmur, Matt Patricia, and Josh McDaniels. Right. And you're sitting there like, oh, great. He's the adult in the room. Right. Meanwhile, you have a chance this season to be like, look, we tried it for 3 years. It didn't work out. We're going to get a new voice in here and bing, bang, boom. And if they do that and they do it with the GM as well, here's the only way that I don't want a new GM. If you bring in a Vrabel, I can take a new GM because he'll be able to work with that GM and understand the pitfalls of what come down. If you do a first time head coach, then I need a GM that's been there, done that. I can't have both of them going through the growing pains together. I need either one to have experience on the one end, like coaching, or I need one to have managerial experience. Optimally, it would be great to get both guys with like a Thomas Dimitroff and a Mike Vrabel. I think that would be a good pairing. You got a guy who worked and drafted Matt Ryan in Atlanta, and you got a guy who built a program from scratch in Tennessee. Boom. But if you were to say, I want Thomas Dimitroff and a Ben Johnson, I don't want the first year. I don't want the GM to be first year, and I don't want the coach to be first year. You need to either make them experienced or give one experience. I think this would be a different story if we had one of the guys a little bit more seasoned in their position.
Well, I know we got to get ready to put a bow on the New York Giants. We 60 minutes into this, and we've all we've covered is the New York Giants. But just one more thing. I just feel like the New York Giants are always just late to the party, man. And this, I can't. I just keep going back to this quarterback class because I'm watching what these guys are doing. 6 quarterbacks in the first round go get drafted in the first round. We've seen extensive play by 4 of them. You know what I mean? And you haven't seen shit from JJ McCarthy, obviously getting hurt in preseason, out for the year. But
seen a couple of, you need a few moments from Michael Penix as well, and he also comes in and flinging the ball all over the yard, looking quite confident as well. I just feel like the New York Giants have I mean, to me, you had an opportunity back in April, and you just didn't seize the moment. I love Malik Neighbors. Don't get me twisted. I love Malik Neighbors. I don't want people to think that I'm hating on Malik Neighbors, but this team just had a bigger need back in April than the luxury pick that Malik Neighbors was. We did not have stability at the quarterback position, and we had an opportunity to do something about it. And now hindsight's 2020. We're watching what these guys are doing. And the New York Giants had a legitimate shot at three of those guys. Let's face it. Let's take Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Drake May table. Because Giants did not have other than being, unless they were able to trade up, which they were not, they didn't have a chance at any of those three anyway. But then you still had Jay McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., and Drake May out. And Bo Nix out there. And just the fact that we're watching Bo Nix cook the way he is. I mean, he's literally probably jumped ahead of Jaden Daniels now for Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. He may legitimately be the front runner now for that award, with Jaden Daniels kind of cooling down a bit the last few weeks. I just think that the New York Giants did themselves no favors. And it's not to say maybe they can get something great out of this one, but no matter what, you got to get a guy. And you just want to hope like hell that these guys can show even the potential that these guys are showing, just because right now this team needs something to be able to fall on, something to build on, man. And right now it's just been a terrible look. Let me say what's up to a couple guys jumping in the chat. Big Blue in the Bronx, Alex at Big Blue in the Bronx, man. Appreciate you stopping in, man. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. My guy, man. Yeah, we switched up the time this week because the holiday, man. We got stuff going on, so had to do it today. Had to slip it in today at an earlier time slot. We back to our normal time slot next week for sure. This is not no permanent switch by no means. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like this team didn't do themselves any favors this past April when you had some like legit quarterback talent coming out in that draft class, and six of them went in the first round, and that wasn't by accident. And Giants didn't take advantage of that situation, and they didn't get any of those guys, man. And me specifically, because as some people may know, I was a Bo Nix guy, and people sitting there saying what he wasn't going to be able to do. He wasn't going to be good in the NFL. He wasn't going to do this. He wasn't going to do that. Like I said, he's literally could potentially win Rookie of the Year, and he was staring right at it. We had him dead to rights if we wanted him. Just like I said, Michael Penix, the same thing, dead to rights if we wanted him. It's just absolutely, to me, I don't know. I just got to see something new with this football team. But we've got to really move on, guys. Move it along a bit. This is an NFC East show, not a New York Giants show. But let's talk about, I don't know. At this point, I'm so I don't even know what to do anymore. Let's talk about Washington a bit, man. Washington got off to the great start this season, man. And that team has appeared to hit a bit of a wall, man. They were like on a 3-game losing streak, if I'm not mistaken. And had another tough loss on Sunday against Dallas, man. Crazy finish to that football game. But what's your thoughts on the Washington Commanders and the troubles their struggles as of late?
Well, first off, kudos to the Cowboys for stealing a game against Washington. And, they won it on different phases of the game, right? They got they got an interception. They got a kickoff return. They threw the ball deep. Cooper Rush had a good game. I think you're seeing teams start to figure Washington out a bit. That's what they're doing. They're kind of figuring out. And Cliff Kingsbury, they threw up a stat saying that his offenses get figured out, that the second half of everywhere he's been, they have had like a losing record or a down record, right? And it's not me. They showed it on like an NFL Network, and you're like, wow, and it's slowly starting to happen this way, where teams are figuring it out. They're figuring out Cliff Kingsbury's offense. You're hitting a rookie wall. Obviously, your defense is is being susceptible to bigger plays, right? So things are happening with this team. At the end of the day, I think there's some growing pains they need to go through, and a lot of their teams are now saying, "Hey, listen, we're going to give you our best shot. If you think you're the best team in the NFC, we're going to give you the best shot." It went, Pittsburgh. You had who gave him the best shot. You had Baltimore who gave him a good shot. You had a lot of teams want to give you their best shot, and we're seeing what's happening, and they're making adjustments. I mean, think about this. Somebody said this the other day. They would be like, they would have lost 4 of the last 5 if they hadn't won the Hail Mary game, right? So they could be a worse record if they lost to the Bears. They would be 6-5. And they're right now, I think they're the last wild card spot or damn near close to it. And you got to look.
No, they're the last wild card spot right now.
And you got to look at it like this, right?
They're currently in the last wild card spot.
They have a tough road. They don't have some easy games down the stretch. Let's just make sure that we're giving you the right information. But I do think they play the Cowboys one more time, which is always
the last game
never
of the season.
Easy game. They play the Titans this week, who happen to have a resurgence. So if they lose this game to the Titans, they're in trouble, right? They'd have to go out and win. This is a game you need to win. You can't fuck around and hope, because they have the Titans, you have the Saints who are feisty as well. You got the Eagles again, the Falcons, and then you have the Cowboys. Okay, so you got a couple teams at the end, especially that December 22nd matchup against the Eagles. Eagles will still be in it to kind of say, hey, we may be the top seed, so they're still probably going to play hard there. So you cannot fuck up anymore. You have to get to win number 8. Otherwise, they may end up 9-8. There's some other teams at the bottom of this thing that are 6-5. With I think the Seattle and Arizona are 6-5 now. And you got a couple other teams that are 5-6, and then you have some other teams like the Tampa Bay's 5-6. They're on the outside looking in, and then you have the Cowboys who are hovering around that 4-7. They beat the Giants on Thursday. All of a sudden they're 5-7, and now they have a schedule where they're playing the Bengals and then the Panthers, 2 teams that are winnable that they can win. And now next thing you know, maybe the Cowboys are like, oh, we're 7-7 now, and we have a chance to get in. I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying if you're looking at broad view, right? Huge game for the Commanders' loss. And I thought they were going to win. And a huge game for the Cowboys to keep their season alive. And if anyone thought this team was going to lie down the Cowboys, then you don't know Jerry Jones. He can't spell the word tank. Their tank's not even in his vocabulary. I mean, we want Merritt a tank because the season's over already. We can tell the season's over. These guys over here, their season is not over. They still have a glimmer of hope. And Jerry's not going to allow them to, he's not going to want to see Micah Parsons not play. And when you're mathematically in it, you might as well try to win it. So Commanders have a tough road. Guess they're getting figured out. We'll find out. And by the way, Tennessee Titans defense is pretty good. Like, they're a shit show of an organization in terms of offensively. They're not scoring that many points, but their defense is not bad. Like we talk about the Giants' defense, you go back and look at some of their games. They're not, it's not that their defense is giving up points. It's like their quarterback throwing a pick 6 and stuff. So we'll see. We'll see if the Commanders are for real this Sunday.
Yeah, it's like you said. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet here, man. You said everything that needed to be said about the Commanders right now and their situation. They just need to figure it out. They cannot. This is a must-win game right now. Heading in one game before their bye week. This is a must-win. They need to go into their bye and get some confidence back into that locker room. I mean, Jaden Daniels statistically did play a good game on Sunday. Statistically, I mean, fantasy wise, but it's been a bit of a slump the last few weeks for the young man overall, and they just got to get that confidence back and try, because right now I think it's safe to say I think being 3 games behind the Philadelphia Eagles, that's a tough That's going to be tough to catch the Eagles now for a division title. But right now they're clinging on to that last wild card spot, and they very much are still in the mix for a wild card for a wild card spot. Man, they just got to put their foot on the gas again and try to get some of that early season mojo back, man. And we'll see what this young football team is doing, but everything looks promising. I mean, they still to me are a promising young football team. They're going to be
Imagine
around
they lose
for
5 in a
years to
row.
come. They've got their guy Jaden Daniels, and then that'll be good night. Like you say, good night to lights, brother. If that happens, that'll be good night to lights. But they got their guy in Jaden Daniels, and we're not gonna keep harping on that. You got to go out there and get your guy. Like you said about Chicago earlier, Caleb Williams might not be having quite the success as Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix right now this season. His team's not playing as well as the Broncos or the Commanders overall. But at the same time, you still know Chicago got their guy. Same with New England. New England they're not winning the football games, but you watch Drake May and you know they got their guy. You got to go get those guys, man. And I see y'all in the comments earlier what I said about the Giants, but maybe Dayball might not have been the right guy, but then maybe that could have been even a bigger reason to get his ass up out of here and got somebody else in here that would have been able to get to do whatever needed to be done. But as far as the Cowboys, like you said, man, the Cowboys can get on a little roll here. They can string some wins together, man. Then, like you said, they're not completely out of it right now, man. They still have a puncher's chance to climb up there, get a wild card spot, and get one of them wild card spots. I mean, it's not out of the realm of reality. I know you watch the way they've played. That surprisingly, the Dallas Cowboys are seeking their first home victory on Thursday. I think they're going to get that. You know what I mean? This sounds crazy to say that the Thanksgiving game, the Cowboys are looking for their first home victory, but that's where we are. That's the season. That's the kind of season it's been. And but I think, like you said, I mean, they're playing an absolute pitiful team on Thursday in the New York Giants, and they've got some other ones on their schedule. I can't remember who else.
Cincinnati and the Panthers are the next 2 games. So Cincinnati is the game after the Giants, and then they have the Panthers after.
So these are very winnable football games for the Dallas Cowboys, no matter who their quarterback is at this point. And so, look, the reality is the Cowboys do got a shot, man, and it's going to start on Thursday night. That's why I just feel like it's going to be a long evening for the New York Giants. Because it's going to start there, and if they start getting that little ball rolling again, get that Cowboy energy back in the, what I mean, who knows? This football team could push and maybe secure one of those wild card spots, but they're definitely they're not in tank mode right now by no means. They're just not there yet. There's nothing that says that this team needs a result to
they played harder
to that at all. This team can still legitimately can still get a spot, man. Get a spot at the table, so we will see. Let's get to Sunday night. Talk a little bit about the Sunday night game out in LA, man. The Eagles, taking on the Rams. The Eagles are starting to look like this team is now starting to really, really turn up, man. Like, I don't see this team falling off that same cliff they fell off a season ago. This football team's offense is absolutely scary. Defense is coming around, Adam. I'll give it to you. They're coming around, Adam. They're coming around. All right, they're making some plays out there, and it's definitely getting better week in and week out on that Philadelphia Eagle defense. So I mean, time will tell, man. I think they're definitely legitimately the second best team in this conference, in the NFC conference, behind the Detroit Lions right now. And I think it's not even close. I think they're the 1 and 2, and it's, to me, there's not even a close third after that in the conference right now. Not a very close third anyway. I mean, everybody got some other good teams, but those two teams seem to be the cream of the crop right now of the NFC conference, man. And this Philadelphia Eagle team with Saquon Barkley doing the things that he continues to do, he's just been a difference maker for that football team. I mean, a team that was already loaded with so much talent, and now you add that piece in Saquon Barkley, and I mean, you see what this guy did. 270+ touchdown runs on Sunday night. 270+ touchdown runs. I don't think New York Giants have a running back that ran for 70 yards on Sunday. No, they did not. They did not.
What was that stat, Mac? Barkley had 302 yards himself. The Giants had 240 yards of offense.
Yeah,
Great.
Yeah, that part. Saquon Barkley alone outgained the New York Giants, and that's not the first time that happened this season either. By the way, folks, it also happened when we played the Philadelphia Eagles. Saquon Barkley outgained the New York Giant offense on that day as well. So, yeah, that's where we're at with that. The Eagles, like I said, they're on the road. They're cooking it. I know, Adam, you got something you want to say about the Eagles, man.
Oh, the Eagles have impressed me with their defense. I thought they were going to be dog shit. I shouldn't say dog shit. I was not expecting them to be this good. After I did some research and called a couple Eagle friends and talked with them, my man Real AK, he put me on. He said, "Hey, listen, Vic Fangio was here before. He was part of that 70 sack season as a consultant." I said, "Oh, okay, interesting." So then when you fast forward to now, maybe that familiarity is why this team hasn't fallen off. I mean, Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean, they're outplaying. I hate to say they're outplaying the Giants line, but they're two of the best linebackers in the league right now. They have the freedom to just roam around because Jalen Carter in that front four wreaks havoc on the quarterback. And their back end is pretty solid too. Now I know Mets mentioned Minnesota. I think Minnesota's good. Don't get me wrong. I think they're number 3, and that's no slouch to be number 3. You know, I just think the Eagles are, with the experience of the team, they have, their quarterback and their offensive line has Super Bowl experience, deep playoff run experience, whereas the Vikings, don't really have that, but they're a good team nonetheless. And I think that's what gives me the slight edge if I were to put Philadelphia there. I think that's what makes them number 2. As far as their offense goes, their offense is somebody said the greatest show on turf. I think I said the greatest show on turf. And you know what? I think who was that? Chris Collinsworth or Mike Tirico said the same thing. Oh, but Adam, you don't know what you're talking about. What's not the greatest show on turf? I said they look like the greatest show on turf. No, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Guess what? That's how they play. Their running back is fantastic, like Marshall Faulk. They've got 3 receivers who can do anything. They have a tight end that helps with that 3rd receiver to make that team even more potent, and their offensive line is spectacular. But they're not the greatest show on turf. No, they're not. They act like it, though. They're scoring points in bunches. The game against, what was it? Was it Pittsburgh or Cincinnati? One of those 2 games where they just scored points in the 4th quarter and just exploded. That's what the greatest show on turf did. They used to explode with points in just random quarters. We're just like, oh, my God, how did this get so out of hand? That's what they do. And then what happens is when they do that, their defense, which is already pretty good, I keep telling you guys, it's a good defense. Is it great? No, it's not great. But it's good enough to get you turnovers. It's good enough to keep you in ball games. And it's good enough to stop teams in big moments. And that's what they do. Do they have all-stars around everywhere? No. Are they leading the league in sacks right now? No. Do they get to the quarterback? Do they disrupt you? Yes. Do they create turnovers? Do they get 3rd downs and make you punt? Yeah, they do. Do they have 2 linebackers that go sideline to sideline? Absolutely. I mean, this defense, I'm not trying to gush over them or gloss over them. It's 10 times better than the defense that they had last year by leaps and bounds. I think, if you want the honest truth, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Detroit and Philadelphia for the championship game, or at least one of those 2 teams making a deep run, because they're both almost built the same. They have decent quarterbacks. They got good offensive lines. Or I should say good quarterbacks. They're good quarterbacks, good offensive lines. Their defense plays hard, right? The Eagles might have slightly more pass rush into their personnel is, but this Eagles team's not going anywhere anytime soon. And you saw it against a good team in LA. Those Ram team, man, they're pretty good now. They're pretty good. And they had a good pass rush, and they got a little bit right. They got ran out the building a little bit. There's nothing against them. They're just their offense is not built to do all that scoring. It's not. And not many offenses are. And that's why I think the advantage the Eagles will have going down the stretch is that they're a team. Maybe this will make sense. I know It's basketball season. It's like a streaky shooter, right? A guy who can score points. He's putting it in the bucket, but all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like Steph Curry, he can get hot. And from out of nowhere, he went from having 10 points and looking lethargic to all of a sudden now he has 40 in a blink of an eye. That's how the Eagles are. They can lull you to sleep defensively, and the next thing you know, they're up by 2 scores. You're like, what's happening right
now? Yeah, Eagles. Honestly, I could say honestly, the Eagles put together probably their most complete performance of the season. They played. I mean, they really laid out their 4 quarters of football on Sunday night, and it was a great performance against the Rams. So I mean, look, I hate doing it, but I gotta give them props, man. I gotta, it's just the facts. They're a good football team, and like I said, I don't see them falling off that cliff that they did a season ago. I think this team is definitely more mentally strong, and with the legs of Saquon Barkley, man, I think the sky's the limit for this football team. I think they couldn't have added a better piece to really put them over that hump. So we will see what the Eagles do going forward, but they're a dangerous football team. They look very explosive, like Adam said, especially on the offensive side of the ball. In the defense, like I said, I'm not as about it as Adam is, but I can admit that they have been making some plays and coming around and playing a lot better as the weeks have progressed throughout this season, man. But I guess we'll just go through the next week's games real quick. Obviously, we'll start with Thanksgiving. Giants, Cowboys. Adam, what you got on that one, brother?
I think the Cowboys are going to beat us, if not embarrass us, on Thursday afternoon. They're getting you at the right time. Giants have a lot of turmoil on their team, and their quarterback, who they're starting, is not like everything is just there's just drama for your mama everywhere with the Giants, and that doesn't equate to a win. So I think the Cowboys find a way to get their first home win of the year in Big D.
Appreciate it. And yeah, there's nothing that's going to make me fix my mouth to say the New York Giants are winning another football game this season unless something drastically changes. So you can forget about that even happening. So clearly I'm the Cowboys, I think, to roll, get their first home win at the courtesy of the New York Giants, who, by the way, are playing the Cowboys on Thursday for the second time this season. How do you play the Cowboys twice on Thursday in one season? I have no idea, but that's the.
Why should be embarrassing? It's going to be embarrassing.
So, yeah, that's how I feel about that. Let's get to the Commanders Titans. Commanders hosting the Tennessee Titans. We talked about this. This is definitely, I think, a must win for the Commanders, man. How do you feel about it?
I think it's a must-win, but I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to say the Tennessee Titans steal a victory, and they skid right into their bye week at 7-6. That's right, folks. I said it. This is a game where like you're getting a wounded animal. You've got a team that's got to crawl to the bye week of a team that just Tennessee just beat the Texans, right? A good team that they face. Yeah, sure, it's a divisional matchup, but sometimes you got to carry momentum with you. You're coming off a big win. You're coming off a heartbreaking loss to the NFC East rivals, and you might be right for the picking. I'm going to go with Tennessee here. I know it's crazy, but
I'm gonna, you know what? I want to give this Washington Commanders team the benefit. I want to think that they are especially after losing in the fashion in which they lost on Sunday. I want to see that this team look like the team we saw in the beginning of the season, in the early part in September and October. In most of October. I want to see this team get back to that, and I think they can against this Tennessee Titan team. I hear everything you're saying about Tennessee, but I just think this Washington Commander team, this is a flat-out better football team than Tennessee, and I think they figure out a way to get it done at home and go into their bye week with a little bit of confidence once again, getting a little bit of that confidence back in that locker room, and I think they get the job done. I think Washington will find a way to beat the Tennessee Titans on Sunday afternoon. And then there was one more. This is a big time matchup. I mean, it's not the game doesn't gonna hold that much weight because it's two non-conference teams, non-conference game. But at the end of the day, you got two of the top teams in the league: the Philadelphia Eagles, the Baltimore Ravens, going toe to toe
Woo!
in Baltimore. Adam, man, what you got here, bro? In the 4 o'clock window,
Woo!
baby.
Woo! Listen, I'm gonna get my popcorn ready because this is gonna be a barn burner, baby. Gonna be a barn burner. I think I'm gonna say the Eagles win this game. And the reason I say that is because the the Baltimore Ravens sometimes have trouble with teams with a lot of offense. Like with a lot of skill position players. They did okay against LA last night, but LA dropped a lot of passes. Quentin Johnson dropped a couple, but they also got railroaded by other teams with offenses in the scoring shootout. And I think this is a game that you're gonna see the Eagles have a track meet. It's gonna be fun to watch because you got the two best running backs in the league going up against each other. And I think the Eagle defense is gonna make just enough plays to keep that team off balance. And I think they're gonna win. I think the Eagles win a game. I think it's going to be a classic game. It could be a preview of the Super Bowl. Who knows? You never know what happens. And I'm going to go with the Eagles. I know I'm crazy, but that's who I'm picking.
This is going to be such a good game. And if you look at this 4 o'clock window on Sunday, this is the only game you probably need to be tuned into. To be quite frank, I mean, you're talking about the Rams and the Saints, the Bucks and the Panthers. Let's face it. We're just watching the Eagles and Ravens game at 4 o'clock on Sunday, baby. And and I think this is going to be a spectacular game. I
hope.
think I want to give this one. We hope. But I want to give this one to John Harbaugh. I'm gonna give a nod to John Harbaugh here, man. I think Baltimore's gonna win this football game. I think John Harbaugh. I think Sirianni sometimes has a tendency to get a little bit cute sometimes. I want to get a benefit to John Harbaugh. He's gonna come out here with a good game plan. He's gonna try to slow this game down a bit and really grind it out and run the football at the Eagles a bit. But Derrick Henry just can try to wear that defense out, man. And I think I think he can succeed in that. I think you come out with that kind of game plan. You don't try to get too fancy. You don't try to have Lamar airing it out all over the place and all kinds of craziness. Just, do what you do best. The downhill run game, man. Throw Derrick Henry, throw Justice Hill at him. And I think they can slow this game down. I think because Baltimore needs this victory a lot more than the Eagles do right about now, to be quite frank. Baltimore needs to really start getting their shit together a little bit, man. They have been a bit inconsistent up and down. I know the record says they're 8-4, but it's been moments where they haven't looked like an 8-4 team, to be quite frank, this season. And I think if they come out there with a game plan like that and just kind of, you got to keep the offense. You got to keep that Philly offense off the field. I mean, that's what it comes down to, because that offense on the field, they're going to score points. That's just what they do. They're going to score points. You got to figure out a way, keep that offense off the field, and try to really win that time management, that clock management game. And I think they can pull it off, man. I'm gonna go with Baltimore here in this one, and I think it'll be a thriller, man.
I hope it's a classic. I wish John Madden and Pat Summerall were alive to call it. That's how classic I want.
Yeah, it's on CBS too. Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
Listen. With AI these days, you might be able to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, they can throw some holograms up in the booth, man, or something, bro. Whatever. But we'll see, man. But
that's funny. That's funny. Let's do it. Fox, let's do it.
They should make holograms of Tupac and shit. Make holograms of John Madden and Pat Summerall. Put them in the booth.
There you go.
Like, shit. Let's go. But everybody, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in. I want to kind of apologize a bit. This show didn't necessarily go the way we normally run the show. We don't usually come out and spend 60 minutes on any one team. But the New York Giants, it's been one big therapy session for the last couple weeks, man. Honestly, it's just been one big old. So
the other teams
we appreciate y'all hanging in there. Yeah, we appreciate y'all hanging in there while we spoke for the first hour of this show, pretty much exclusively about the New York Giants. And we'll be back next Wednesday. Next Wednesday at our regular time, 5 p.m. Next Wednesday, man. You can catch me and Adam right once again on our regular time slot, man.
December.
And we do appreciate all you guys coming in. Appreciate you, No Mets, No Nets, No Jets. Appreciate you, Mosley, Jersey, Bookends, Miz. Appreciate all you guys. Alex, SGA Sports Talk, man. You guys much appreciated. And I hope you guys all have a great and happy holiday, man. Have a blessed Thanksgiving. Don't let the New York Giants ruin it for you, man. Enjoy y'all meal. Enjoy y'all meal, man, and just, see if we can enjoy the game in any way, shape, or form. I'm not convinced we're gonna be able to, but definitely enjoy y'all meals. Have a safe and happy holiday, man. And we appreciate all you guys' support, man. So I'm Mac the Giants fan. This is my guy Adam Costas, man. We'll be back once again, like I said, next Wednesday in our regular time slot, man. Peace. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants fan. That's MacDa Giants fan.